How you doing, Chief?
Not bad. How are you doing today, Cyrus?
I'm fantastic. So, what I want to talk about today is actually the biggest missed opportunity in Star Wars, in my opinion, for the most recent trilogy that happened.
Sure.
I believe Finn is the most interesting character that they created in this new trilogy, but I just don't think they utilized him well at all.
I don't think they utilized any of the characters well at all, not just him.
Well, in my humble opinion, he should have been the main character because they did something with him that was completely and totally unique.
Yes.
They humanized one of the clone troopers or a stormtrooper.
Sure. Well, he should also be the main character because he was the first one we were exposed to when the film started. And naturally, in any movie, when you do that, he's kind of your gateway character that leads you, kind of hold your hand, lead you along. Yeah.
And, I felt like his tone was off at times.
Yes.
Because there were times where, he was really afraid of the First Order and everything that was going on.
Yes.
And then he would have time to flirt with Rey or whatever. And I'm just like, what's going on here?
It is very jarring, yes.
But him as a character, if you think about what natural arc he could actually have, it could have been very interesting.
Sure.
They advertised him as a Jedi. And if you really think about what really woke him up and made him decide to see everyone as a human being or as a sentient being, it was the blood splat on his face, that person touching his face.
Yes.
And it suddenly made him different from everyone else.
Yes.
It was brilliant. That opening scene, that's probably my favorite scene from that first movie that they had. It was so interesting. And then he takes off his mask, and you're like, oh, he's a real guy. He has something going on.
Oh, yeah, he took off his mask, and then he was kind of breathing heavily. He's got sweat pouring down his face like he was, having a crisis in life.
That's probably some of the best character development they did.
Sure.
At the very beginning.
Well, the very beginning, he was interesting.
Yes.
But you're right. Like, very quickly, it felt like the character was kind of going all over the place.
He was too many different things.
He was too many different things. They were trying too hard. And I think that may be not just... for him, for every other character, because they were trying to hit so many audiences. We want to get the kids, we want to get the older fans, we want to get the female fans. We want to get the people who never even heard about Star Wars before. Like they tried so many
different things.
Yeah,
and then if you look at Captain Phasma, that should have been his arch rival right there.
Yes.
And him having to battle against her and overcome her really should have been something that should have been more prominent in the entire series.
Yeah.
But it was relegated to a few fights, in which case I don't think he won any of them.
I think she was completely forgotten by the third movie, right? Like they completely abandoned that character.
I don't think they used her at all.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, which is very weird because they set it up and then that's it. No more.
Right. And I just feel like they didn't use him properly because if you look at every fight that he ends up in, he either loses the fight or he wins in some kind of cheap way. And I'm just like, come on, that's not good.
No. See, you can do that probably for the first movie.
Yes.
Where he cheats or he gets lucky. But your character development as it goes, he should get better and better at it.
Right.
He should rely more on his growing knowledge and everything.
Yes, but by the third movie, he was relegated to even less than a side character, I felt.
Yeah.
I'm just like, bro, like, what are you doing, man? You didn't even tell Rey you love her, man. Like, there's nothing going on with you.
It's bizarre because he has, to me, less memorable scenes in the third movie than C-3PO. Which really is a side character.
He's a literal robot, and you're less interesting. I'm just really surprised that they didn't use him the way in which I thought they were. If you look at the second movie, they relegated him to some side mission that literally had nothing to do with the rest of the movie. They could have cut it out entirely.
I'll tell you, in the second movie, at the end, when he was taking that little ship that was going to crash into...
I was excited about
I was like, oh, wow. I was like, are they going to kill him off? This is
a real decision.
Yeah, this is interesting. And then, no, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. They cheat the audience out of that.
Right. Rose totally went back on everything that she had said throughout the entire movie. Yeah. So I'm just like, all right, okay. But when I look at the promotional art and I look at that first scene of the movie, the first one, I can see brilliance. I can see that they had a very strong idea.
You talk about even the first trailer they cut.
Yes.
Very first one for The Force Awakens. The first shot is his head popping up. Also kind of panicking and sweating, and had that music, dun, So you think this is going to be very serious, what he's going to be going through. This is a guy who makes a life-changing decision of originally obeying the Empire to now he's got to turn on that, and he knows the consequence of probably having the danger of how they're going to kill him if he does that.
And then think about the tension that would have been built between him and Kylo Ren.
Yes,
in that situation because he was the person that handpicked him to go out there and fight.
Yes, and then he was a traitor. Yeah.
That would have been far more interesting than the weird sort of semi-love triangle thing going on between him and Rey.
Yeah,
And,
the movie was trying to hit too many buttons at the same time.
Right.
And never focus on this is the person we need to follow. It's a weird thing because Finn is the first one introduced, so naturally he should be the main character.
Yes.
But then Rey is kind of later on brought in and has to be a main character.
Right.
I know they're trying to duplicate the original trio with Luke, Leia, and Han Solo.
But Finn doesn't fit into any of those.
He doesn't fit into any of that. And then the other thing is they will also have Poe, who was supposed to be the other part of the trio. But a good chunk of that first movie, he completely disappears.
Yes.
You didn't know where he was. He was just gone. Then suddenly he showed up back at the end. And it was kind of like, which one are we supposed to really follow? Are they really a trio or not? And in the end,
it's just Rey.
Not. Then there's just all Rey, and you kind of go, like you said, missed opportunity with Finn. Because here's the first one we're exposed to. We should know him probably just as well as Rey.
Right. I mean, she put the whole team on her back. Let's be honest.
Sure.
She was the most interesting and powerful character who didn't really need any training.
Mm-hmm.
But Finn, on the other hand, he was sort of good with the blaster, sort of good hand-to-hand.
Yeah. Well, because he was a stormtrooper. He should at least have some sort of combat training.
Right.
Because she was just someone out in the desert. Maybe she fought off some scavengers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're never going to have somebody like that who's as well trained militarily as a soldier.
Right.
So there was weird things they even did in that first one. Like I said, it's not just Finn, but I think every character is mismatched. Mm-hmm. Every character wasn't focused in.
They even made him a janitor at one point. They said he was a janitor on the base. I'm like,
yeah, they did. Because I think he was like before he went out to kill people, he was a janitor.
They really undermined him. Like,
they kept pushing him down further and further.
Like, that's wrong. Like, that's not okay.
Not to mention the poster for Star Wars in China, they shrunk him down much smaller too. So it was kind of like you have this character who was promoted heavily in your movie trailers and everything.
Yes.
In American, marketing. And then it was relegated to nothing in China. And then when you watch the movie, you're kind of like, this is so unfocused. And you want to like the character, mm-hmm. but you didn't know what to like him for. That was kind of the weird part.
That's exactly right. And I think as an actor, he was great.
He was great.
I really like the actor a lot.
Sure.
And I also feel like they had an initial great introduction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely had good acting chops. You can feel some of the emotion he was portraying.
Yes.
But you can't have him to go breathing very heavily, sweating.
Hey, you got a boyfriend.
Hey, you got a boyfriend? Huh?
Right.
And you're like, what the heck is this? Yeah, am I watching a romance comedy or am I watching a action adventure?
Right.
I mean, you're trying to blend maybe a little bit of both, but it didn't jive.
Right. And then on top of that, he was just sort of a sidekick. But then he couldn't actually get Rey's attention ever. But then Kylo didn't really get Rey's attention either. Yeah. So I'm just like,
at the end,
is this a love story or not? Like,
there was nothing there. It was weird. Yeah, because you have the third movie where in the beginning it goes, Rey, he wants to tell her something.
And he doesn't
tell her. And he never told her.
Told him never forever.
I was like, what
forever friend zoned. I'm just like, this is...
Wow. I didn't even know they were in the friend zone. It's the weird part because they didn't really feel that much like they're friends either in the first two movies, and the third one suddenly they're all hanging out having a good time, and you're just like, this is jarring too.
Well, you have to think about how much time spanned between the first movie and the second.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Much.
Yeah, there's nothing.
It's like a week or so.
Oh yeah. Well, I could see if maybe she started feeling something more because he did try to save her and he got his back cut up real badly. So they got to put him in that medical chamber. Mm-hmm. But then the first time he popped out of that, he was walking around with pipes hanging around. I'm like,
it was just the butt of another joke.
Yeah, it was a visual gag and a comedy, and you're like, okay, what? And here's the thing, I think he never saw her until the end of that movie.
I don't think he did.
I think she was already off with Luke, and he didn't really see her until the very end. Mm-hmm. I think the very last minute. So he's like, okay, there was such a big deal made about him saving her in the last one. And then the third one, they kind of just forgot about it and they're having a good time. Everyone's just having a good time on a goofy, weird adventure.
The MacGuffin adventure, right? That's pretty much what that was.
Yeah.
But,
you don't even know what to say now.
I'm frustrated.
Of course.
I was really excited to see the series because I'm like, oh man, they have a brother here. He looks good. Mm-hmm. He's a Jedi finally. Yeah. We have another one other than Mace Windu. I was excited.
Sure. But no, didn't go anywhere. And I felt like they didn't go anywhere with Poe either. Poe was another guy they casted, which I've seen him in other movies.
I liked Poe too.
Yeah, this guy is a great actor. He's going to do great. And you can say they utilize him a little bit more by the third one, but the second one, you felt like, he was also being shuffled aside too.
Yeah.
You didn't feel like the character, like the guy that just blew up the super duper Death Star, and the second one they kept telling, you're no good, get out of here.
Right.
You don't know what you're doing. You're too rash, and you're like, you're talking about the guy that saved your entire galaxy, just the previous movie,
yeah,
which is maybe like 8 hours ago.
Yes,
like
come on now, y'all need to chill.
Yeah,
it's weird how each time it sort of shifts. And my last question is this:
mm-hmm.
If they could have just turned one of those ships around, put it into light speed, and blown up all of those ships, why didn't they do it with just one at the very beginning and not let all of those ships get destroyed? Because they waited till the very end to do that.
Yeah, well, that's just because that's just called plot device at that point. You're just writing it for the sake of writing it. There's no setup. There's no nothing.
If you had that move at the beginning,
yeah,
you could have saved a lot more people. I'm just saying.
You probably could have taken down the entire First Order with that, So, see, but that's why when you have that kind of script, it's kind of like we're just making up stuff as we go along.
Gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. I mean, I remember seeing it in theater. It was like you're like, ooh, that looks great.
Right.
But then after you're done with it, you came out and go,
wait a minute.
That makes no sense now. So.
And since when did they have issues with fuel all of a sudden?
Well, I don't know. But here's the thing. Movies have gone from having a logical linear plot to focus more on emotions. How can we make the audience feel at that very moment when they see this scene?
Yeah.
That's what they care about more. That's why they, sometimes the music starts swelling up, and then, they do these beautiful, beautiful effects and shots. But at the end, you kind of go...
Well, the third movie was the most gorgeous one out of all of them made ever. But
sure. Yeah. But
did it accomplish anything? I don't know.
No. Because I think... Emotion is when it first hits you. You kind of go, "Ooh, that feels good." Kind of like when you have that, vanilla ice cream. That tastes
nice.
good. The initial thought of it, but once you have too much of it, you kind of go, "That doesn't make me feel that good. I want to run to the bathroom now."
Right.
So I think that's kind of the problem with a lot of modern movies is they focus so much on that hitting you with that visual that gets you emotionally charged. Mm-hmm. But then it goes away very quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing behind that.
Sure.
There's no character or story or plot or motivation to really propel some of these things further and further. It's just kind of like, we have this happen, and then we have this happen, and then we have this happen, and then it's over. Yeah, okay. Like I think one of my friends described it best. Like modern movies are more like roller coasters.
Okay.
There's the anticipation of getting on a roller coaster. You start getting like your heart is pounding because you're like, oh, it's going to be exciting. Or I don't know, I'm scared of it. You get on it, you're strapped in, you're ready to go. And a lot of these roller coasters, the first initial propel you out of the tunnel is like a lot of excitement, right. And then you go through loops and curves. And when the moment you're on it, it's great. But once it's done, it's like, well, please exit this way. It's over. And that's what a lot of modern movie feels like. Goodbye. We got your money. Go.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and then you kind of go, okay, do I want to get on that ride again or not? I remember back then, if you see a good movie, you immediately want to go back on it. Sure. And I've seen that with good, roller coaster rides. I mean, people come right out, they go right back in the line.
They jump right back.
Yeah, because it's a total package. There's something that really propels you. But a lot of times, if you get on a ride, you kind of go, okay, that was it. Experiment is over. Whatever. You just head toward the exit.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And if you look at the original trilogy and how people responded to that, it was very different.
Sure.
Every character had a solid character arc. Mm-hmm. You had a good understanding of who they were at the beginning. Sure. And they took
They took chances.
They did.
They really took chances. You talk about cutting off your main character's hand. I mean, I didn't see that in the theater, but I'm sure people were horrified.
It heightened the tension.
Yeah, because at that point, you really don't know what's going to happen.
Yes.
You also have your other main hero, Han Solo, just being put into carbonite, shipped away. You didn't know what's going to happen to that guy.
Exactly.
Either. It was just, and you have the good guys losing, just continuously losing during that sequence. I think people were just kind of like, whoa, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
You feel something.
If you juxtapose that to always undermining your villain and undermining your supposed one of your main characters.
Yeah.
And making them the butt of a joke. Both of them the butt of a joke.
Yeah.
It gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, Kylo was so unimposing at certain times. He just seemed like a petulant child.
Sure.
Yelling.
Compared to the first shot in the Force Awakens, he comes out, he was able to block up the blaster.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was like,
but I lost instant respect for him as soon as he took off the mask.
There was, because it demystified him very quickly. You didn't know what he was anymore. I don't think it bothered me as much as the movie continued. I said, okay, let's take off the mask to see where it goes.
Bothered me immediately.
I was just like, okay, let's see where it goes. But it was just kind of like I took off the mask. There was no more menial symbolism after that.
Yes.
Because
once he puts it back on, it doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter anymore.
You don't have the same feeling that you had beforehand.
No. I think if he took it off and there was something a little bit more meaty behind that scene, like there's some real message or sort of a metaphor, that would have been better. But it was just kind of like, I just need to take off my mask.
Right, because like he took it off and I'm like, oh, like that was my first immediate response. Mm-hmm. And I like the actor again. I like all the actors.
I thought he did great. To be honest, I thought he did. Adam Driver was phenomenal in all three movies. He really acted. But it was kind of like, but the problem with is you're acting with nothing. Yes, there's no meat to your character.
Correct. I mean, he should have either been entirely evil, or he should have had some more well-defined arc. Yeah, like. The great thing about the best arcs is that you can pretty much say in a sentence, sort of what happens to the person and how they change. In this, you can't really. You can describe
the character was going this direction, then it was going that direction, and then back and forth. And it was just kind of like no amount of good acting could save that character at the end. Because I'm not running out to buy a Kylo Ren figure. No, I'm not like, ooh, I gotta have that. But then sometimes when you walk by, a toy shelf and go, oh, there's Darth Vader, you still kind of give it a second glance.
You give it a look. Yeah. Well, compare this. Think about this. With the first Matrix movie, you could clearly chart Neo's path. Yes. And what happens to him and how he grows as a person and the character. He reaches his peak at the end of the first movie. Oh, yeah. It was exciting, too. Yeah. Because the whole movie kept telling you, maybe he's not the one, maybe he can't do it. And in the back of your mind, you're kind of like, is he or is he not? But at the end, when he finally... was able to beat Agent Smith and become that super best fight. Yeah, because then you're just like, he is the one. It's exciting. It seals the deal for you. Yeah. But the whole movie was directed on maybe he's not, but you're still growing and changing. And in the audience mind, you're going, maybe he is, maybe he's not, maybe he is, maybe he's not. But they were playing with that tension in the audience. Then if you look at the second and third movie, it's not entirely clear what his path was. Because his path was kind of completed in the first one. Yes. And now they kind of have to find a way to tear it down and rebuild it, but they went into nihilism, which is a terrible place to go for movies. Yeah, because as soon as you accept that premise, suddenly now your character has no standing left because there's no truth anymore. There's nothing to build upon. Yeah. So another missed opportunity. Maybe we should talk about that next time. Potentially. I digress. I think there's a lot of great things to talk about. Sure. But let's end that one. Let's end this one here. Thanks, guys, for watching the video. We love Star Wars. We really think it's a fantastic series, and we think there's a lot that could be going on. I think in the future, if they can potentially take some of the feedback that the fans have had about this, I think they can really bounce back on the next trilogy that they do. So. Well, we'll see where it goes from here. All right. Thanks, guys.